5:57. All right. Attendance roll call. We've just been saying who isn't here either. So Mark's not here, but he let me know.
Perfect.
All right. Approval of the agenda. Get a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
All right, can I get a second?
Yep.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. All right. Approval of minutes that Mark sent out today. So I get a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for September.
So moved.
All right, can I get a second?
Yep.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Rolling along. Any disclosure of conflict of interest? None. Public comment? No public. All right, old business. Bath Fest we've got as just a standing item, and I think probably all of the expenses are in now. So we were sort of waiting for that to be. So as of 9:30, roughly, let's see, if I'm reading that correctly, we roughly had 4,840 in revenues and 7,256.67 in expenses.
Yes.
All right.
That's not including the
Right.
10,000 from the board.
Yep, exactly. So currently, we are at the negative 24,1667, but like Taylor said, that doesn't include that. So we're more or less around 7,600
Yep.
in fund balance. So that should be a good place to start from as we start to go forward and ask for sponsorships again and start drumming up some more entries for the tub races and all that. So I think that that is a great place to be. Again, our expenses this year were 72.56, so we have more than that available in the fund balance. So I would say at the very minimum we have the same budget we sort of spent last year, but the goal is to increase that budget and add some of the things that we talked about at the last meeting there. So, any question on budget for Bath Fest?
Any ideas about a rough timeline for that, or is that something?
For when it's gonna happen again?
Just stage it for it to happen.
I think that as soon as we get done, I was talking with Sandra the other day, she's got trunk or treat, next week. I would say as soon as that's done, and then we're gonna get it going.
Excellent.
So, and I think part of it is also, which I guess we'll talk on down in new business, but some of that is with the advisory committee structure stuff. Changes, potential changes there. So let's hold on that for a minute and we'll talk about that in new business. So next up with the sticky wall brainstorm, Mark included all of those on the minutes that he submitted. So we have those and they'll use that as a starting jumping off point also for when we get together here in, I would say, starting in November. Trunk or treat update, that's happening on Thursday, or 2 Thursdays.
Next Thursday.
2 Thursdays, yeah, the 23rd. Sandra seems like she has got it, she feels good, I think. James, how are you feeling?
Good.
All right. She's done it enough years, it feels like she kind of has it going, so, and we had talked about it, and so I think starting next year, we'll do, depending on what happens with the committee structure, we may end up either doing a rec table or a Bath Fest table, or maybe combining those and having, both of those things there, but we'll have a year to figure that out. All right, new business, so Taylor, do you want to share some about the potential future, what was introduced for committee structures?
The board worked with a facilitator to complete their strategic plan, and part of that was doing an assessment of our advisory committees. Based on that assessment, the facilitator made some recommendations on how to structure advisory committees moving forward. For this group, there were 3 suggestions that he said either any of those that the board went with he thought would be appropriate. One of those is basically keeping the structure the same as what we have now, but instead this group would report to the superintendent, so to Karen directly. And then there was a recommendation to kind of make this more of like an ad hoc committee, if you will. So more of like having you meet when there's a reason for you to meet, if that makes sense. So obviously with Bath Fest, if that were to stay as a charge of this group, you would still probably be meeting fairly frequently to work on that, but it may not be like monthly, depending on how the board would want that to be structured. But again, you would be reporting to the superintendent. And then the third option, which for your information was an option for all of the committees, if it wasn't the only option that he recommended, was to eliminate it, but I don't foresee the board wanting to eliminate this group, based on the work that you guys do. So I would assume that it would be one of the other two recommendations, for restructuring that the board may decide to go with. That won't go into effect until they take an actual a specific action for this group. When they, we're assuming that they're going to approve their strategic plan at their next meeting, a week from today. When they approve that plan, that means that that is the framework of where they're planning to move forward. It doesn't approve everything that's listed in there as a goal or an objective or anything like that. So they will have to take a separate action to restructure committees at a different time. I'm not sure when exactly that would occur. I would assume at some point before the end of the year, probably with the new structure happening like January 1st, just so that we're starting the new year that way. But obviously, as I know more about that and as the board works through the process, I will keep you apprised of that.
It was kind of a decision to examine it, in
Yeah.
a way,
Yeah,
to simplify it, is what I gathered.
yes, definitely.
And I think that it's important just so that we all hear it again, that just what Taylor said, and that's what I've had conversations with, both the consultant that was working on it and with Ryan, is that, like, this isn't, this board will they like what we're doing, they want us to keep being involved. There's some other committees that have not met, or that, like the Public Art Committee hasn't had a full, enough people to meet. So that is one, and some others where they don't have agendas, or they're, are kind of legacy committees, so I think that's why, some of them are potentially going away, but that, this one is most likely not, just will either shift who we report to or shift how we do the work we do.
What do you mean when you say, like, we would report directly to Karen? Like, does that mean like she'd come out to our meetings, like
Nope, so
or
it'd
no?
still be me and James coming.
Okay.
It'd more so be, if Karen had a specific project that she wanted you to work on, so Karen would kind of be giving you, this is what I want you guys to focus on, kind of a thing. So if the board wanted you to continue focusing on Bath Fest and then recreation programs, then Karen would give you projects to work on that have to do with Bath Fest and recreation programs, if that makes sense. So the board kind of comes up with what your actual charge and responsibility is, and then Karen would effectuate what those projects should look like and how she wants you to, work through those. It could also look like you guys helping with volunteering more, things like that, so.
And I think in a way, that's somewhat how we, not informally have worked as well. I mean, I think about like Bath Fest, we came and talked to her and we're like, hey, this is what we're thinking, what does the
Yeah.
township think about that? And then talk to the board, or board individual members to kind of get their feeling about it. So it's not, I don't think it wouldn't feel to me like it was something completely new, to have that sort of shift in structure. It may just be more formalizing
Yeah.
somewhat what was already happening.
I don't know the specifics, but it's my understanding that to apply for a number of grants that are available for natural areas and parks, that the communities do have to have a park board. Has there been an exploration into how this new shaping would affect those grants?
If you're speaking to DNR grants, this group we can already apply for DNR grants.
With the changing of the roles, if we change the structure of this board and
Well, to be clear, this board can't apply for grants. The township applies for grants. This board can assist in developing the grant and creating the grant, but when the grant is submitted, it is submitted as Bath Charter Township. So regardless, there would still be able to be grants submitted.
So if they dismantled our group, like, they would still be doing like the 5-year rec plan and things like
Correct.
that?
Yeah,
and
if,
doing
if for
things
some
to-
reason this group were to not exist, that would become me and James doing that ourselves. And we would still have to go through having the public input and all of that, the same process, but it would be me and James working on it with a consultant like we were. There just wouldn't be a committee in that process. But like I said, I don't see that being a thing. And then, yeah, when we do the 5-year Parks and Rec plan again in 2028, Karen, if it were to change to having, the superintendent kind of giving you guys projects, then she would decide how you would be involved in the 5-year Parks and Rec plan as well. Same thing with applying for grants.
2028 is gonna be here before we know it.
I know.
It's like, I just look thinking about
There's a
that,
lot of
like-
plans that are expiring in 2028, I've been realizing.
Any thoughts or additional concerns or clarification or anything needed right now on the advisory committee structure?
No, I just hope that they don't dismantle, this group. I think it's, you know.
Any of the groups.
Yeah.
Just
But-
So many good ideas come from the volunteers.
And again, I don't see them as the groups that, or the committees or groups that are doing things that are not statutorily required. You know, those ones have to stay, but the ones that are not, but that are active in doing things, my understanding is like they're not trying to or wanting to get rid of those. If they're functional.
Sure.
All right. Monthly park discussion? Move on to that.
Yep.
All right, so we had the boat launch and Park Lake Beach. We just decided to kind of put both of those together.
I didn't take any notes on the last section.
Let's
That's okay,
discussion,
I'll replay it, sorry.
discussion was had, it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
right?
Oh,
Like,
yes,
sorry.
you're fine. It
Yeah.
doesn't
I was
have
like,
to be
oh, no.
specific.
No, I was
it's
just
really-
listening.
No, 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 no.
Discussion was had,
Okay.
questions were, yeah,
Okay,
that's totally
sorry.
fine.
No,
you're
I started
fine.
panic,
good.
I was like, no.
You're totally fine, it can be vague. It's actually usually better if it's a little vague and not too detailed.
All right, so. I guess, with these, I was thinking we could look at, so the boat launch is on page 45 and the beach is on page 46. And then we have the goals that are, aligned with them as well, which are a lot for both of these, but I forgot that they were pretty involved. So.
What did they mean? Do you guys remember when they wrote down for the boat launch and said reconfigure the boat launch?
So that was, part of, Ben's CIP submission last year, I think. It was to restructure both Wiswasser Park parking lot and the boat launch parking lot.
Oh,
Cause
yeah.
right now, how it's set up, it is kind of difficult to maneuver with any kind of boat, honestly. So, yeah, kind of making that easier to pull in and out of the boat launch and then also go around to park.
That's right, and a CIP didn't get approved, right, for that?
It was in the plan, but it didn't get funded.
Right, okay.
Do we know if he's planning to submit something like that again? Or do we not?
Based on, if the board were to approve the strategic plan in the way that it is currently written, it does have, one of their goals is to focus on Park Lake Corridor.
Okay,
So whether or not that would be funded through, township funds, I think at the very least it would be able to be something that we could go for a grant.
okay. Cool,
And then matching funds, obviously.
right.
With regards to the boat launch, it says build accessible kayak launch. I'm trying to recall if that was like universally accessible, when we say accessible, or if there was.
Yes.
It was, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could put in right off of it and then
Yep. It
slide
was,
down
it was
the.
ADA compliant.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So technically, reconfigure boat launch and the incorporate the new adjacent parcels are kind of
Yep.
one and the same together.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Cause that space would most likely need to be used. right,
Yeah,
to
the
refigure
new
or-
parcels that were purchased by the township, I think the idea was to kind of use some of that to widen that area as well.
Do you offhand know when they take them out,
When they take what out?
the, docks?
Oh, usually this month, they try to do it before November.
Is the water level affecting anything?
I don't know, cause I haven't been down there lately and I haven't spoken to Ben directly about that, so. If it was a problem, I feel like I would know.
There were people fishing off the fishing platform. I drove by maybe mid or late last week, not over the weekend, but, and they were, so, that was
Yeah.
still in the water.
I see lots of people at the boat launch there, and they keep going back and forth, so I must not be having too many issues. I will say it's affected over my lake access from down there,
Oh, okay.
over on that Duluth there. Man, the water's gone down so much, and it's so muddy. I didn't realize how much it was like that, and then I told Penelope we promised we would go fishing. I had to get our kayaks. I had to walk through like the sludge, and I was like, it was disgusting. But we still went, so it's fine.
Good for you.
The, where the Eagle is, that water's really low also, which is
How
kind of
low
like
is
a-
it compared to what it usually is?
It's lower than I've ever seen it. but
Yeah, this is the
I've
lowest I've
seen
ever
for-
seen it.
We're 5 inches short of rain.
Yeah,
as of
it's been
last
pretty
week.
dry.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I would say the ponds we walk at our neighbors a lot and that the drain goes through there, but it's opened up and those are the lowest. We've been walking there for 18 years now and
Yeah.
by far the lowest we've ever seen them.
I've had to run my pond pump a lot.
I think knowing that these are still like listed as possible things, that maybe we should touch back after the budget's approved, right? And see, like, talk to Ben and see, like, after that's approved, like, does that look like something that you might be moving forward with and?
I will say, as of right now, how the budget has been proposed, these haven't been put in for funding. So if it were to stay the way it is, none
Sure.
of these would be funded for next year.
Well, maybe as we're looking at these things, we should think about it as a group, like, which ones would we wanna apply for grants for to help, so that way in the spring, when we go to apply for them, we have a list of, like, from this park, we think this is a really good one, and.
Yeah. And it may be good to group some things together too, sometimes that makes a stronger
Yes.
application.
I mean, it seems like all of those, like the boat launch, kayak,
Right.
fishing platform, restroom facility, those sort of all seem to
Yeah, they
be
kinda go
one,
together.
one unit. And I think, am I remembering right, that Ben was talking about relocating the fishing platform because there were hooks and things that were floating into the
Yes.
swim, it's really,
It's really close to the swimming area,
okay.
yeah.
I
So
thought
I
that's-
think that was part of, with those new parcels, he was thinking
Good.
of kind of adding it over there.
Yeah, move it down.
Yeah. Getting it away from the swimmers so that we don't have any injuries.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then I know for the restroom, he had the like composting toilet things as well as, I think at one point we talked about, building a larger one, so like similar to what's at Wiswasser.
Yeah,
you know,
and if
those
we
were
were
options.
going for a grant, then, you know, we could try to go for that more expensive one,
Right.
obviously. And depending on where it was located, we may be able to hook into water.
Right, yep,
Well, I think these all, for both the boat launch and the beach seem like good ones that we should think about doing and like applying for grants for, and like touching base with, the Park Lake, Advisory Committee or Friends of Park Lake to see if they wanna, you know, go with us, you know, the more the merrier, people. And so I think we should leave these on the list as things to consider, cause I think these are all good ones.
I agree. I think they're also impactful ones that people see right away. I mean, it's not that the things that people don't see are usually also very important. But, you know, when there's things like that, people, you can point to like, for the people who are like, but what's my tax dollars doing? Or what is the improvement? Or nothing's happening. Like those are really visual and, you know, can show that they're serving multiple people in the communities, or in the community.
Plus, I would say they're highly utilized, by all age groups, which is, you know, it's fun to do like the parking equipment, stuff like that, but like the boat launch and the beach can be used by multiple age levels, and I would say the beach has been very, very busy in the past few years.
Yeah, the last few years, for
Yeah.
sure.
And that fishing platform is usually, I mean, we don't drive that way a lot, but when we do, it's almost always someone on there all
Right.
summer long, like if it's in the evening. Usually multiple people.
Is there money set aside for invasive species in the budget?
Yes, weed treatment.
Treatment,
I believe that was increased by 5,000 this year, so I think it's 40,000 for this year.
We were all at lake this summer, and all of a sudden, the kids were fishing, and we were all like, yeah, look at our fish, and then the guy, we see him over there with like, putting out the chemicals, and I went, oh my gosh, you guys, put your feet in the boat, we gotta go down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, especially if we know that in the 5-year plan, that corridor is part of a priority area, that being able to conclude these things in that discussion makes sense. And we'll see what happens with the creamery, and if it sells, if it stays open, you know, if it, yeah.
Has there been any discussion of the township purchasing that and making a go of it?
I mean, I personally would love that, but maybe a conflict of interest on my end.
It's sold for sure, is that?
I don't think it has sold,
But
but
it's for
it is
sale.
for sale,
Ooh, and
yes.
then have all of our meetings there.
It's there?
Ice cream all around.
Okay, good. Well, I think this is a good one to touch back on when we start applying for grants and things, I mean, depending on what they do with the restructuring of groups, but I think it's a good one to go back
I
to.
agree.
Definitely.
Okay.
I also think that like, as much as, you know, we've talked about that 18-acre parcel, you know, as much as like, would it be great to go for a large grant and try to build that up, that, you know, working on something that is already existing, that already has people that are active in that space, that is already a known location, may be a better, you know, decision to apply, if it's, whether it's a DNR trust fund grant or, you know, something along those lines, that it may be better to do that than start from scratch out of the parcel. It's sort of a one time go, you know, we're not, if we get funded for one of those, it's not gonna be like we're gonna get funded
Right.
3 years later or 10 years later, so, but these do seem like additional things that that could fit under there. So. Cool. All right, anything else with those for right now?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right, so moving on, a rec update from James.
We have 2 more weeks of flag football. That will end on Sunday, October 26th. We did have several teams that walked in the parade, the homecoming parade, and passed out candy, so that was pretty cool. And we'll have basketball registration starting the first week in November. We had our Puzzle Palooza a couple weeks back. We had 6 teams. I had 2 that were committed, but they had to back out, so that 8 dropped down to 6. But it's just a very, very fun event. One of the participants suggested, because it was a really nice day out that day, to have it in the winter. So I made, you know, instead of doing October, do November or December. But a great event. Right now, we have our Scarecrow decorating contest going on. You have to submit your Scarecrow by October 17th. We had 3 so far. The Bath Middle School, their students made like bee scarecrow, which is really,
Nice.
looks really nice. And then we had the Halloween market on October 23rd. We had 10 characters coming from Enchanted Encounters with the Wilks, so that should be fun. And we'll provide candy for all the vendors to pass out at the booth. And then we had Apple Barrel return to the market last week,
Nice.
which was a big hit.
Oh, I
Yeah, definitely.
And I waited for like, hour and a half to get my donuts, cause I've heard so much about them, I haven't had them yet. And they were so good.
I knew
They
you were
were
gonna
so
say that.
good. I was debating, do I wanna get, a dozen for myself, a dozen for my neighbors? By the time I got to, think about what I wanna do, they were gone, so. And they'll be here for the rest of the season.
Oh, that's great.
Which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
I reached out to Eagle Eye about possibly, using their location for the, polar plunge that we had discussed.
Yeah,
And I had a phone meeting with Luke, the directors of operations, so I'm waiting to hear back.
okay.
But the one problem that we have is because that's community outreach and it's not, revenue for the course, that we would not be able to use the clubhouse for changing areas.
Okay,
So I'm finding out the biggest challenge is finding out, how that changing station look and what
Yeah.
would we use.
how to warm people up when they,
Yeah, yeah.
when they come out.
You don't wanna just dump your car wet, so.
Right,
Then we have a couple upcoming events, which we can talk about next meeting, but the Buck Pole will be November 15th.
yep,
We'll have the holiday market on December 11th. And, it's not our event, but we have a piece in it, the tree lighting on December 9th.
you said December 11th is the holiday market?
Yes.
Okay. Cool, lots going on as usual.
Yeah.
So, great. All right, any questions for James?
Nope, I was just gonna tell him that, the soccer is doing great, the U6, U8, combining like the soccer academy is working out really nicely.
Great.
And, all the teams are doing good, there are 46 kids, I think, signed up for it. And so, they're doing good, and we've talked over at LC, and they're bringing their U8 teams over for the next couple weekends. And we're gonna have scrimmages for the U8 groups there, and so, and then on our last one, it's our Halloween, we're having spooky soccer. So, we're gonna have the kids wear their costumes and stuff, and scrimmage each other, and we have like Halloween treats for them and stuff, and so, and they were in the parade as well, and so everything's going good, they got their t-shirts, they got their pictures taken, so things are going good there.
Awesome.
Yes.
Great, that's great to hear. All right, for parks, will Ben eventually come back to DPW? Or
So he is
back and now he's-
back to DPW.
Okay.
The only problem is that, the same Mondays that we have our meetings is when he has training at the
Oh,
fire department.
We talked about this last month.
Yeah, so he probably, won't be able to come unless there's like a dire need for him.
Yep,
Otherwise I can communicate with him in between meetings and
perfect.
get any information that you need.
All right, so I may take that off, or do you want me to leave that on the agenda and just take Ben off
You
of
can
it?
leave it and put me if you want.
Okay.
Or you can take it off.
All right.
Whatever you
Maybe we'll
feel
just
is
keep it
best.
as a placeholder in
Sure.
case there's something, but yeah, all right. Cool. All right, so no public comment? Anything from the board?
Not really, we're just, here I was reading about looking at expanding the senior center, and that's so far down the list of, that we're looking at the whole area, that everything's too small. We had a long, great discussion about the fire department, and they need to make overnight sleeping quarters there, so there's just, it's like we're running out of room.
We are.
There's no way to do what has to be done, everything's too small, so
Yeah,
everything's on hold, I guess, for now. And a lot of money needs to be spent, it's huge.
yeah. Growing pains,
Yeah.
I mean, it's community growing pains, it's. Guess it's better than everyone leaving, the opposite, and
That
having
is true.
empty facilities that
Right.
aren't being used.
Very
Don't think
true.
that'll happen.
No.
It's a blessing and a curse,
Yes.
for sure.
Oh,
That's about it.
cool. Alright, any other comments from the
I
committee?
have if it's speaking to some people in the biking community, and there's an interest in looking at the Upton Road site and seeing if there's like possibilities for a bike trail around there. How would you recommend they proceed to explore that?
With the township Upton Road property,
Yeah,
I mean, if it's going to be something that would need to be township funded, I don't think that that's gonna be a possibility.
just kind of a recreational riders who are looking for a place to ride and
Dirt bikes or?
kind of mountain bikes, dirt bikes.
Oh, okay, so like a dirt trail is what you're
Yeah.
saying, okay. If they want to send an email to either James or myself, we can speak to Karen about that and see what the best route would be.
One
work
bulldozer
through that.
could run around there one day and fix it, couldn't it?
That's kind of what they do. They have a team of people who will go out and scout it and
Yeah,
figure out what works and,
somebody
See if
with a
it's worth it.
bulldozer could make a trail.
But not motorized dirt bikes.
correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Like pedal bikes, okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Wouldn't cost much to do that at all, I wouldn't think.
Nothing.
Volunteers, just the
Think-
right to do it.
And liability,
Yeah.
right, it's township property then, if people are going out there and,
So is a sidewalk.
and if someone falls on the sidewalk, they can sue
Yeah,
the township
right.
too, so.
Right, so what's the
You
difference?
know,
I mean, when
Happens
you
all the
think-
time,
it's all
unfortunately.
the
Yeah.
same.
So. I would think there'd be have to be some type of, the signage and those types of things that would have to go out there to, by entering here, you're accepting
Yep,
responsibility for your own stupidity, I don't know. Injuries. I think that would be a good use of that space, right? I mean, if
Be
we
easy.
had just said that, yeah, to invest in something more in that space would take
Give me a bulldozer.
a
I can
lot of funding, but if it's something like that and they have people that do it,
And it can be rather temporary because they don't really put in any infrastructure. They just kind of
move the ground, yeah.
move the
mm-hmm,
Flatten it out.
cool.
Penelope said to me, have you seen you guys haven't been to that park yet? Remember how there were a lot of deer there? Could you ask if maybe we could go hunting there? Ben likes to hunt, I'm sure he'd let me, and I said, no, honey, we can't go hunting
I'd
there.
love to let you, but
She said, there was a lot of deer there though, and I said, yeah, well, we're not going hunting there.
they know it's township property, that's
Right.
why.
Yeah,
I can hit one in my driveway every night.
Yeah.
It's like, would you guys move? Get out of the way.
cool, alright, well, if that's it, we'll, the motion to adjourn at 6:31, I'll make the motion, I guess, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Any opposed? Alrighty, Roo. That was a quickie.